Afternoon peeps, good afternoon everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. We spoke about Beterbiev versus Smith in yesterday's video. Great fight, can't wait for it. I give Smith a very good chance, but I think Beterbiev's going to get the job done. What we didn't speak about, because we didn't know at the time, was this atypical finding in a drug test that that VADA conducted on Beterbiev, I think about a month ago, December the 6th. I've got the date here. I mean, I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's a bit of a red flag. I've seen a few people talk about this and do videos on it, and they're okay with it. Look, the test that was conducted on December the 6th contained raised levels of HGH and testosterone. Now, a bit more in this article that I'm reading on the Daily Mail says that this can naturally occur in your body, and that subsequently or after this test, he's done tests and he's come back fine, negative, and they're okay to fight. Callum Smith released a statement as well. He spoke to Boxing News and he says, it's not a past test. It's not a failed test. The fight's still happening. That's the main thing. I'm not a scientist. I'm a fighter. I'm here to beat him, take his belts and go back home. I mean, that's all well and good. But if you are part of Smith's team, so management team, Eddie Hearn, I mean, you might want to look into this a bit more. I mean, look, the fight's still going ahead. And as a fight fan, I want to see it go ahead. But you might want to kind of just say, okay, what's going on here? Has there been VADA testing with Beterbiev before? Has this come up before? Etc. etc. I'm not saying it's a red flag, but it's definitely fucking amber. You're not going to tell me this is all fine and thumbs up and we're good to go. There's something here. And I feel like people might need to get to the bottom of this. But it's because the fight's in a couple of days. There's not much more you can do here, I guess. If he's passed test after this and all those will come back fine, then this is boxing. And the fight will happen. But would you guys make of this? Again, I mean, I've never heard of this before. An atypical test. I mean, atypical findings. I've never heard of it before. But this article in the Daily Mail basically does say that this can occur naturally in the body, and that's it. And that's it. And now we move on. Interesting. Another thing about this as well was, and I think I said this on yesterday's video, that Dimitri Bivol has signed, he's part of the deal to fight Beterbiev if Beterbiev wins. It didn't say nothing about fight the winner. Surely if Callum Smith beats Beterbiev, then surely you get Callum Smith versus Dimitri Bivol. Surely it's an undisputed fight. It sounds like it only happens if Beterbiev wins. So if Beterbiev loses, it looks like Bivol could be finding another dance partner for whenever, March, April. But yeah, on that, I don't know. I've not read enough about it. Callum Smith says he's not a scientist, nor am I. But anytime something pops up and it says things like, where was it again? Raised levels of HGH and testosterone. You start to think, okay, what the hell's going on? That's just my own take on it. Again, some people have different views, and if you have a different view, let me know and I'll read up on it. But for me, that kind of is, like I said, an amber flag, not a red flag, an amber flag. Terence Crawford responds to Errol Spence's injury. Last I can recall, we definitely got our eyes checked before every fight. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think what Crawford's basically trying to say here is that your eyes fucked up, and I did that. I did that. Prior to the fight, your eye was fine. We're okay. We all do our scans. We're good. I done that to you. Don't try and act like you came into the ring injured. Because Errol's saying things like, I wasn't able to avoid any of the jabs. Normally I avoid them. You kind of don't. I mean, Errol gets touched. Errol gets touched a lot. So I feel like it's a bit disrespectful, people trying to take away what a fantastic performance that was from Terence Crawford. I was there and I was mesmerized. And I'm not having, the eye, the weight. I'm not having any of that. These two guys met at, I wouldn't say at their peak, because both of those guys now mid-30s to late 30s, but they met equal playing field, and Crawford was just a lot better than Spence. That's it. All right, let's talk about some old news. A lot of you guys have asked my thoughts on it. We found out about this a few days ago, although I kind of knew a few weeks before that Anthony Joshua is going to fight Francis Ngannou. The reason I say I knew a few weeks before that is because it was obviously supposed to be AJ versus Deontay Wilder, providing Wilder got through his fight against Joseph Parker. I kind of suspect that it wouldn't be Hrgovic next. It wouldn't be. Ngannou would get involved. Obviously, I think Ngannou versus Fury done good numbers. I think people seem to enjoy the build-up. And now we get to see brick versus brick and AJ versus Ngannou. And I'm not that mad at it. I'm not. Would I have wanted to see AJ Hrgovic more than AJ Ngannou? I'm probably gonna lose my boxing stripes here, but I feel like I'm a bit more intrigued by AJ versus Ngannou than AJ Hrgovic. Don't know why. I'm a bit more intrigued by it. I want to see it. Do I eventually want to see AJ Hrgovic? Yeah, give me that fight. But for now, for all the build-up, I think I'm doing a face-off with those two on Monday. Fucking can't wait for it. I'm interviewing both as well. I'm intrigued. I know there'll be some, and I guess these guys have a right to say this, but Ade, you were upset when Fury fought Ngannou. Now it's okay that AJ's fighting Ngannou. There is an element of that. But at the time, we didn't know that Ngannou could box. Let's be very honest. And also, I mean, at the time, we wanted to see Fury Usyk, right? I mean, AJ's not a champion. We want to see Fury Usyk. So we wanted someone to defend his belts against a legit boxer, right? And not just defend those belts, make the undisputed. So there are a few differences there, but I can also take those punches, those soft blows, because I am contradicting myself here a little bit. That being said, I'm fucking intrigued by it. I really am. Surely AJ just comfortably beats Ngannou. I think he does. I think AJ beats him. Maybe not comfortably, but I think AJ beats him. And I think last year was a good year for AJ. I think 3 comeback fights after what was a tough 2022 is solid. I think it's solid. Jermaine Franklin. I've spoken to a few people about Jermaine Franklin, and a lot of them always tell me, this is true, God's truth. They always tell me that Franklin is a lot better than maybe people think. Like, he's very tricky. And I think we saw that, not just against AJ, but against Dillian White. And then it was supposed to be Dillian White. It turned out to be Helenius, who AJ knocked out. Wasn't easy, but he knocked him out. Helenius himself got caught for cheating. And then the good win against Otto Volin. That's a solid campaign. Solid 3 fights, not just 3 fights in a year. It's a 3 fight run in 8.5 months, 9 months. Solid. That's what you want. The only thing I've not liked about the run is this switching of trainers. I'm not keen on it. I'm not a fan of it. I know some people was, are like, as long as he finds his best form, and I agree with that. But there's part of me that think he would have found his best form with Garcia. There's parts of me think he would have found his best form with Derek James. And now I think we are seeing some of the best work with Ben Davison. But I'm not that keen on the switching of trainers. But look, whatever works, do it. Some people like to have long-term trainers. Some people like to go and find little bits from different trainers, and hopefully they can all gather those pieces of the puzzle and they finish the puzzle, if you like. But yeah, I'm excited for AJ Ngannou. I really am. I think the card's going to be really good as well. For Ngannou, and I think I mentioned this on yesterday's video, what a win. What a win. So you leave MMA, and I do think he's left MMA, by the way. I know he still does stuff with PFL, but he's done. You leave MMA and you then go and fight the 2 biggest names in boxing, or in the heavyweight division at least. That's fucking incredible. I mean, there was talks about him versus the likes of Dillian White and Chisora, and he's gone, no, Fury, AJ. Solid, honestly. It is very, very solid. There are some that think Ngannou will beat AJ. Not for me. Not for me at all. I think AJ will outbox him. I mean, physically, they're about the same. Ngannou's maybe just a bit heavier. What I mean by that is that I don't think Ngannou's going to be able to bully AJ around the ring at all. And I think they both hit very hard. They both hit very, very hard. There's a lot of talk about, can AJ take Ngannou's punch? 1 second. Can Ngannou fucking take AJ's punch? We'll soon find out. But yeah, I am really, really looking forward to it. It's a shame that we didn't get AJ Wilder. It's a shame. There is a talk, obviously, of Wilder versus Zhang to go on that card as well. There's a lot of talk about Parker versus Hrgovic to go on that card. So it feels like it will be another heavyweight heavy card, which is good. But it is a shame we didn't get the AJ Wilder one. Quickly on that, I know this is old news, but I haven't given Daniel Dubois my plaudits yet. I gave him plaudits on air, but I've not done it on this channel. You got to fucking credit that man. Honestly, there were times in that fight where, all the quick talk, right? There were times in that fight where I was like, oh, this is getting a bit heavy. He's breathing hard here. He might, he might succumb to Jarrell Miller's just size, because there was, over 100 pounds difference between the two. But he dug deep, found a second win. And for him to put the cherry on the top in stopping Jarrell Miller was fantastic. Honestly, it was fantastic. And hopefully he gets a big fight. I spoke to Frank Warren after. I don't know if you guys saw during the fight. You probably have. You probably know about it now. But Daniel Dubois' dad went ringside and kind of screamed to Dubois. And I was like, where did that come from? And it was Frank. Frank said he literally told Daniel Dubois' dad, get there and tell him. Because I think he saw it starting to fade away as well. I think rounds 5 or 6, it looked like he had put everything into it and Jarrell Miller was still there. And his dad gave him a fucking talking to, and Dubois produced the goods. So hopefully Dubois can get a big one next as well. I wouldn't mind, I know I keep mentioning this guy's name, but I wouldn't mind seeing Dubois versus Martin Bakole, Dubois versus Parker. But the biggest win on the night, or I think the best one on the night, for me, it wasn't Joseph Parker Wilder. I think it was Kabiel Makhmudov. I think Agit Kabiel needs to get more plaudits. I feel like that fight's almost gone under the radar. Like, Makhmudov was a massive favourite going into that fight. Obviously, you know, the heavyweight, that punching power, fucking Ivan Drago, no one wanted to fight. Kabiel stood up and just broke him down. Broke him down to the body, the head. I mean, those body shots were fantastic. So hopefully, Kabiel's now in the mix. Honestly, it's a winner stays on thing, and Kabiel stays on. I think it was a really good performance. It really was. All right, before we wrap, let's have a quick look and see if there's anything else. We have, I think, caught up with most of the news. I might do a live. We're not going to do a live watch along, unfortunately. I will do a live though on Sunday. That's a promise. That's a promise. We are going to do a live on Sunday, breaking down what we saw in the Beterbiev Callum Smith fight and other bits as well. We haven't done a live for ages, so Sunday session live is back this Sunday. I'm not saying it's back forever, but it's certainly back this Sunday. All right, is there anything else? Jaya Pattaya to land on February 17th, Fury Usyk undercard. Will train with Fury ahead of championship defense. I would love to see what Jaya Pattaya is doing to Tyson Fury in sparring, because I think Pattaya is a nightmare. Honestly, I think he's a nightmare. I mean, this is perfect sparring, though. It really is. Usyk is no longer as fast as obviously Jaya Pattaya is put on that size. I don't think Usyk's as vicious as Jaya Pattaya either. Pattaya just wants to kill you. Whereas I think Usyk wants to kind of break you down, right? Download that information and then eventually break you down. Pattaya is not trying to download shit. He just wants to fuck you up. It's going to be interesting to see who Pattaya fights February 17th. It'll be interesting to see, especially if it's, obviously it is in Saudi Arabia, if they can somehow entice a Chris Billam-Smith, entice a Richard Riakporhe, entice a Coley, who I think still at cruiserweight, entice one of the champions or former champions to get in the ring with him. Because we do need to see, as much as I love Pattaya and I think he is the best in the division, I think me giving him that crown after beating Jordan Thompson and Ellis Zorro, some might say, oh, Bradis as well, to be fair, but the big ones of over here, recent times, are those two. Have I crowned him too early? I don't think I have, but I do want to see a step up an opponent, and then we'll see. Frank Sanchez, I'm ready for a big name. Parker, Wilder, Hrgovic, Zhang, or Dubois. Finally, it took him a while to kind of get going, I felt. Frank Sanchez. I thought, what's going on? And then when he stepped up a level, Junior Farr was just nowhere to be seen. And there were levels, like a fucking, like just a departing of the Red Sea between those two. So yeah, hopefully he gets another opportunity. Again, winner stays on. He won. He should stay on. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's have a little look. A bit here about Sky Nicholson hoping that her WBC title, remember that's the title that Amanda Serrano vacated with Mahfoud, lands in Australia. Yeah, might do. Let's have a quick scroll down. 2 secs, people. I'm going way back here, just in case we've missed anything. Nah, that's kind of it. We will, again, catch up and do more stuff, but that's kind of it. You know what I did think, very quickly? If AJ does, and AJ will, providing there's no injuries, fingers crossed, fight Ngannou, March, that's 4 fights in a year, in 12 months. Activity. Nothing beats activity. Nothing. I mean, look at Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker's had 4 fights in a year as well. I mean, it's no coincidence that he's fighting Wilder. And I gave him a chance in that fight, by the way. I think me and Rob Tebbett were the only ones that were like, yeah. But it's crazy that he beat Wilder, and it wasn't really a surprise for me because Wilder's not done anything for 3 years nearly. And Joseph Parker, although not fighting top caliber, you've been busy. You've had training camps. You're sharp. You can't just fucking roll up and think you're going to beat someone of Joseph Parker's level and you've been doing nothing for 2 years. Can't happen. Kell Brook, if correct figures were mentioned, I could be tempted to put pipe and slippers away. I don't want to say, how old's Kell? I don't think Kell's actually that old. 37? No, it's not old. It's not old. There's not much out there for him. Potentially Josh Kelly at 154. I think they're struggling to get Josh Kelly a named opponent, although I think Josh Kelly should be trying to aim for the Tim Tszus of the world. You know, go for it, go for the top. But they're struggling. Final one, Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington rematch slated for May 18th. There was a lot of talk about Lee Wood potentially versus Joe Cordina, and other names were mentioned as well. Remember, Lee Wood no longer has his WBA belt. It almost, if he wants to go, and that's going to be at the end of the season, that is, which obviously is what they've targeted. If he wants to fill the City Ground, which is tough, you are going to need Josh Warrington. You are going to need that fan base. And I think that's probably come into the decision here. You're going to need a big fan base to fill it. Like Lee Wood versus anyone else, he might get 10. At a push, might get 12. Then why go to a stadium? But if you get Josh and the whole Leeds lot come, then you could potentially get 20, and then that maybe makes sense. All right, anyway, guys, girls, peace and love.